hope you'll join us for the second hour of the Diane Rehm Show. That's coming up at 11 o'clock. As we count down to the end of another year, remember, there is still time for you to make a tax-deductible gift to WUSF in 2012. You can give with a credit card anytime before the end of the year online at WUSF.org. You can send us a check as long as it's postmarked by December 31st. Whether you're a first-time giver or a renewing member, you are making a difference for your NPR station.
Ken Rudin's grip on political trivia and mind for the minutiae of life in Washington is virtually unmatched. Or so he thought, until fifth grader Gabe Fleischer started his newsletter, Wake Up to Politics. I'm Jennifer Lutton, a political junkie face-off, plus Charles Blow on the meaning of minority. Next, Talk of the Nation from NPR News.
We certainly hope you'll tune in for Talk of the Nation this afternoon at 2 o'clock. It comes your way right after the story here on your NPR station, WUSF 89.7. It's 1040.
And welcome back. Here's our first email for Eleanor Harvey. She's senior curator at the Smithsonian American Art Museum as we talk about the new exhibit and her book accompanying it, titled The Civil War and American Art. Joe sends in an email saying, the Civil War photography is already disturbingly familiar to many who pay attention. The gruesome immediacy of the technology. Your slideshow of the art of the period, however, is a revelation to me. The paintings depict a more somber reflection of the scars of the war. You need to add more paintings. Particularly affecting for me were the black refugees in a physical and moral wilderness and the wrecked fort in the foreground of a beautiful ocean sunrise. Now let me just tell you that as soon as this program is over, we will link our own website to that of the Smithsonian, where you will see not only more paintings, but a timeline of the exhibition. And for those of you who cannot wait, you can go to americanart.s like Sam I.edu, go to exhibitions, and there you will find the Civil War and American Art. Let's go to the phones, 800-433-8850. First to Bob in Austin, Texas. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, good morning, Diane. I love your show.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that my grandmother's grandfather, Miles Moore, was the drummer boy in 54th Massachusetts with Frederick Douglass's two sons. He enlisted at Reedville, and I have a photo of him, possibly taken by Matthew Brady. He was, for all practical purposes, a poster child for black recruitment in the Civil War.
I think that's absolutely fabulous. One of the things I have most enjoyed about tackling this topic is talking to people who have a personal connection to some aspect of the war. The story of the 54th Massachusetts, Robert Gould Shaw, and that disastrous assault on Fort Wagner in South Carolina is one of the most poignant moments in the history of America at that time. And I think that Shaw for his willingness to command the brigade, Douglas for having two sons in the brigade, it supported everything Douglas stood for, where he said, if you put an eagle on a black man's chest, if you put a U.S. on his belt, if you give him a rifle, give him a reason to fight, he will do so and he will acquit himself well. And I think that, objects like yours are things that you should absolutely treasure in your family, but I also hope as a result of the sesquicentennial, the 150th commemoration of the Civil War, that image can have broader exposure so that we all can understand our part in the legacy of this conflict.
Well, I can tell you that my 11-year-old son, I've made arrangements for him to portray Miles Moore at the reenactment at James Island on July 18th of next year. He's actually, we found a bunch of guys there in South Carolina who are keeping the memory of the 54th alive, and we will be there.
Wow. Bob, thank you so much for calling and sharing that with us. I'm sure that's really quite something.
It really is, and I think that this 150th is a little bit different on the reenactment level than the 100th anniversary of the commemoration of the Civil War, because so many different constituencies are getting involved. Not only the descendants of the U.S. colored troops, but also the women who either were spies or were at home working the home front, or who were caught in the crossfire themselves. This is a conflict in which no one gets away unscathed. It is 4 solid years of back and forth. If you think about what 9/11 did to us as a country in one day, there's a before, a during, and an after, and we know that our lives will never be exactly the same. 4 years of this? I can't imagine there's anyone within earshot of anything who did not come away in some way changed by all of this.
Or are they talking about Sandy Hook?
That you've seen
They're talking about the Sandy Hook
between
thing?
the ways in which the South created images and the way the North created the images.
Well, it's interesting because not really, but the difference is in the number of images that are available. The northern blockades made it almost impossible to acquire artist supplies or photographer supplies after the opening months of the battle. Okay. There's no ready money to support an art market. The South is going to subsistence living very quickly. Even in Charleston and New Orleans, which are the two most richly endowed port cities in the South, there's virtually no art market during the years of the war, and it will take decades for that economy to rebound. And so this exhibition definitely has a northern slant for 2 reasons. First of all, the availability of images in the South is far lower than it is in the North, and second, the New York art market was still live, kicking, and thriving during the war years, and they are shaping perceptions in real time as the war is prosecuted.
Let's go to Killington, Vermont. Hi there, Julia.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Surely.
I just wanted to comment, first of all, this is a fascinating topic, and I'm really glad it's coming to New York because I can't go down to Washington to see it. The point I wanted to make, though, was that I think that, the gore and the horror is kind of a fascinating draw. I just wanted
Hey,
to
Bubba.
underscore that
We can go
American
open presents now.
has really
That's right, you got tons
in
more
those-
presents.
gone to the older, I think, peaceful, more, you call it more beneficent view of life. And right in the middle of it, Abraham Lincoln, as I understand it,
I didn't even hear what you said, so.
right in the middle of it, Lincoln signed the legislation.
You record the fucking assholes in front of you?
Yeah.
I'll show my ass. I'm like, here you go.
Preserved in the state of California. It wasn't a national park yet because it didn't exist. But the people were.
How right you are, Michelle.
And was involved in that push. And so it's like the two things are going on side by side.
Yosemite is one of my favorite sidebar topics, and you will find a view of Yosemite by Albert Bierstadt from 1865 that is gloriously beautiful, but it has no people, no birds, no animals. It's as though you're waiting for the ark to come around the corner on the
All right, buddy.
river and
We
start
go open
the-
presents.
In June of 1864, sides the Yosemite Lottery. Frederick W. Olmsted has drafted the legislation of Boston and San Francisco Appalachian Temperature. Thomas Sowell
Holy doubly. Let's go.
gets to Secretary of his first trip to Yosemite in August of 1864, where he says, "We are the most magnificent place I have been. Everyone seems to understand we need a much more sanctuary
about his music taste?
Different photographers
Eating your
and
guitar
artists
back there, buddy?
trying to either capture
Eating your
the
guitar?
landscape, the actual geography during the battle, or in contrast, trying to capture the reality of war and death and bloody corpses. But it's, relatively well known now that many more people died as a result of illness and injury from the Civil War than the actual battles themselves. Is there anyone doing photos or doing paintings at the time that seem to be aware of that medical phenomenon that's taking place and was able to capture that in some way, or is that something that was just being clear?
I think that Eastman Johnson actually addresses that more directly than most artists. There are a couple of things that are on in the exhibition that wish I had in space to show the size that it is. But, pretty much I think when they give you the galleries, you start counting up the linear feet and figure out all the bits and stuff. Eastman Johnson did a picture of the field hospital that shows a wounded soldier convalescing in nature out under a tree with a nurse sitting next to him, either reading or helping him write a letter home, basically, again, trying to say, I think I'm going to be okay. He painted another work called The Pension Claim Agent, which is where this wounded veteran, an amputee, is pleading his case for insurance money. And what you have to remember is there is no insurance system for a pension system for soldiers until the Civil War, when Montgomery Meigs, who builds the National Building Museum as the pensions claim building, realizes we don't know who's fighting, we don't know their next of kin, we don't know how to find them, and we have to find a way to take care of them. And so all of those systems, including housing and program that they were laid out, they were branded and they were scrambling in the post-war to start putting these things in place.
I'm father of two Iraq War veterans and Vietnam veteran myself. I find that painting so moving with the shirtless veteran with a wheat scythe in his hand, scything a field.
Bless you.
Looking a little bit reminiscent of the Grim Reaper, but turning his back to the viewer.
Hi, how
Turning
you
his
doing
back
back
on the
there?
war and its horrors.
Oh,
And moving forward in a,
no
in a
kidding.
peacetime pursuit, and it's sort of reminiscent of the
Guess what, man?
I wonder if you comment on that painting.
I will.
You know what, buddy?
Painting.
Daddy loves you. Yeah, Daddy loves you.
It is in the exhibition. We could not have done this exhibition without this painting. I am deeply grateful to the Metropolitan Museum for lending it and for being a full partner in helping the show.
There's smiles back there, I see.
Veteran in a New Field is a complicated picture, and you're right. It does have to do with sloughing off the
There's
Jack
smiles back there?
picking up the implements.
Oh, you
of
smiling at
farming.
you
It's
smiling
like
at the
George
little orange
Washington,
puppy?
Invoking Cincinnatus, turning swords into plowshares. It is a Grim Reaper side, and Hummer did that deliberately. And part of it has to do with your own experiences as a Vietnam vet. There's a wonderful book by Eric Dean called Shook Over Hell, where he compares the experiences of Civil War soldiers and Vietnam veterans. And he talks about the language of post-traumatic stress. 80% of them are on the Civil War battlefield to reflecting on the details, and every soldier talks about going down immediately like going down the lead. And despite the fact that the veteran has sloughed off the outer garments, every time he swings that side, you have to wonder what's going through his head.
Michael, thank you so much. That was
Price. Invest with confidence at zeroprice.com. From the Joyce Foundation, working to improve the quality of life in the Great Lakes region. Learn more at joycefdn.org. And from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, helping NPR advance journalistic excellence in the digital age. This is NPR.
On the next Diane Rehm show, Americans once considered trees infinite resource, but as far as recent years, attitudes changed. An environmental outlook rebroadcast the story of the nation's trees.
Another hour of the Diane Rehm Show just ahead on your NPR station, WUSF 89.7 PM out of St. Petersburg, Sarasota. This week on Florida Matters, the best stories of 2012. It's been the town in August. The Democrats are up to November. Meanwhile, Republican President environmentalist is striking light in Florida. A special Florida Matters will bring you some of the best stories of 2012. You hear it on the radio Sunday morning at 7:30 and online at WUSF.org/Florida Matters.
Hi, I'm Joanne Yourofsky, General Manager of WUSF Public Media. Your financial support helps us bring two very special radio stations to our community. News, information, and all-night jazz on WUSF 89.7 and classical music on WSMR 89.1 and 103.9. Thank you for your inspiring and generous support. From everyone at WUSF Public Media, best wishes in the new year.
From WAMU and NPR in Washington, I'm Diane Rehm. Born into a life of wealth and privilege, American novelist Edith Wharton was known for her insiders' critiques of the upper class. But her 1911 novel, Ethan Frome, featured working class characters totally different from her usual subjects. The novel's namesake is a poor farmer married to a domineering and sickly wife. When Ethan's wife hires her young cousin as a housekeeper, Ethan falls hopelessly in love. The doomed romance set against a stark New England countryside became Wharton's most widely read novel. A reader's review of Ethan Frome, first the news.
We're home.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Paul Brown. President Obama is cutting short his holiday vacation in Hawaii. He's